about Jessica. Jessica is totally giving me midlife crisis, and she's sacrificing everything and moving full steam ahead with her move to Tennessee. So they show her packing, and it didn't look like she was bringing much with her when she finally did leave the apartment, but she was leaving her daughter behind by herself at the apartment for a few days until the movers show up and move all her big furniture, and then her daughter will be going to stay with her dad after everything at the apartment's in order. So her daughter seemed like she was in shock that her mom's actually doing this. It seemed like it's one of those things that you don't believe it's actually going to happen until it happens. And now the day is here for Jessica to finally leave the state of Florida with its beautiful beaches, it's her beautiful apartment, her beautiful daughter, and to pick up and move out of state to a whole new state in Tennessee for a whole tweaker until he gets out of prison. Like, she's making a huge sacrifice because she isn't renting the home that she is getting in Tennessee. She's straight buying it. But Jessica seems so confident in this relationship that she's willing to take that risk all for a tweaker who can't seem to stay out of trouble in prison. And then this girl has had enough warning signs and red flags, but she chooses to ignore them and put her faith in the process. And plus, Jessica's only been with this dude for 5 months, and now he's going to be in the hole for another 60 days. And she said this isn't the first time he's spent 60 days in the hole while being with her. So out of the 5 months they've been together, it seems like he's spent more than half of that in the hole. So now Jessica is convincing herself to still make this move because she said the whole idea of not knowing the coulda, woulda, shouldas, she felt like will haunt her and bother her for the rest of her life if she doesn't at least find out for herself and take this whole jump to Tennessee. Jessica's gonna F around and find out quick. I just think that Jessica has to be so naive to all this because I'm guessing she probably doesn't have much experience with tweakers. She probably doesn't have any family members or older friends who are tweakers. So she probably doesn't understand the uphill battle she's going to experience. And it's just not fun being around a tweaker when you're sober. It's just not. So Jessica is literally signing up for disappointment, and she's crying about him being in the box. Meanwhile, her daughter is heartbroken about her ridiculous life choices. And Jessica says she's moving, even though she has no idea when Dustin's going to be getting out of prison. But apparently that's a risk that Jessica's willing to take. And Jessica said there's nothing about Florida she's going to miss. And I think she's partially fueled by her desire to start over and using that as a reason with her terrible decision to move to Tennessee. I feel like Dustin isn't the only reason why Jessica wants to pick up and move across the country so bad. I feel like another reason is she wants to better her chances of finding another nursing job, because I'm sure she's blacklisted at a lot of the nursing jobs in the Florida area she was living in because of what she did when she was working at prison and decided to start dating an inmate. So I'm sure a lot of employers look down on that and don't trust bringing her on. So I'm sure she thinks if she moves to Tennessee, they won't know about her past and be easier for her to get employment. So Jessica is sitting on the porch of her apartment in Florida. She's about to say bye to her daughter and hit the road when suddenly she gets a phone call from Dustin's sister, who informs her that Dustin may be looking at more time because the prison is thinking about hitting him with additional charges for whatever he got in trouble for in prison that sent him to the box. So Jessica, she starts breaking down, crying, saying she can't help him or do anything to get him out of this. And Jessica needs to realize that all the love in the world won't save someone until they're ready to save themselves. So after finding this out, you think Jessica would have second thoughts about moving to Tennessee, but she still plans to move full steam ahead, and even her daughter was trying to be the voice of reason and tell her mom that there's nothing in Tennessee if Dustin's going to be getting more time. What's the point of moving there when her family's in Florida and all she's going to have is Dustin's family out there? Jessica said she still has to move though because she already put an offer in the house and it got approved, and if she doesn't move out there, someone else is going to put an offer on the house. She's going to end up losing the house. But like I noted earlier, like, this is a sign, Jessica, and out of all the times this happens right before you're supposed to leave, this is God telling you not to go. You need to take the hint. Kind of like when Ty went to the cemetery and she tried to call the spirits for a sign on who's going to be the love of her life and give her a child, and all of a sudden she gets a phone call from this certain inmate. That was Jessica's sign, but nope, she chooses to ignore it. And this is just the beginning of the drama and turmoil that Jessica's going to experience. Things are just getting started if he continues down this path, and she's in for a whole lot of drama and heartbreak. So even after all that, Jessica decides she's still going to move to Tennessee anyways. And her daughter just deserves so much better. I'm just so glad that her daughter is not moving in with her to go join her in this whole mess. Like, let Jessica fail by herself. And Jessica just looks so drained, like Dustin took so much energy out of her. Jessica's just still stuck in fantasy land. She thinks Dustin is the love of her life. She says she's never loved anyone like she loves Dustin. But I think she's in love with the idea of who she wants Dustin to be, not who he really is. And she thinks she can actually change him. And she's going to learn real quick how hard that is to do. And then, so she's about to leave. And she starts breaking down crying in her car. And her daughter came and comforted her and gave her a hug and told her it's going to be okay. And then Jessica went off on her way to Tennessee. And then we find out at the end of the episode, this girl got Dustin's name tatted on her 2 more times to show her faith and loyalty to Dustin the Tweaker. Like, countdown until she has to get his name covered up, because I'm sure it's going to happen. And I'm not sure when this was filmed, but Dustin ended up getting 12 additional months in April after he was found guilty of felony battery on another inmate. So for those of you guys who didn't see my video on this, Dustin, last November, he was staying at this county jail, and they had the women on one side, they had the men on the other side. And he was spending all day talking to the females, and they kept telling him to cut it out. You can't talk to the female inmates, but he wouldn't stop. So eventually they ended up moving him to another section, so he was nowhere near the females. And then he got mad and decided to punch an inmate from behind, unprovoked, because he thought it was going to get him sent back to the area next to the females. And instead, he ended up just getting in trouble and getting sent to the box. And even it said in the report that he was asking, can I go back to that area I was at? And they're like, no, this is not how it works. So he ended up being found guilty of felony battery on another inmate in April, and he was credited with 160 days served since the incident was in November of last year. So now Dustin, I looked it up, and he is set to be released this Wednesday. So I guess we'll see how this works out with Jessica. They're not bringing them back, but I'm sure they'll end up filming them for another season of Love After Lockup, because you know WeTV is going to want to get this mess for content, because you know it's probably going to be a mess. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. The season finale, like I said, I knew it was going to be a nothing burger since none of these inmates were getting out. The only surprise to me was Jessica got 2 more tattoos of this fool. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.